The Shark Deck.
Hello and welcome to Palace Intrigue. I am your host, Mark Francis. A new book, Tom Quinn's Gilded Youth, An Intimate History of Growing Up in the Royal Family, has a passage about Meghan Markle which explains how Meghan was dazzled by the worldwide fame that being a princess would bring, but didn't like being compared to Princess Kate, as she usually ended up being the worst one off. She hated the constraints and the rules. She hated being a second-rate princess, second to Catherine Middleton, I mean. Most of all, she hated the fact that she had to do what she was told and go where she was told in the endless and to a large extent pointless royal round. The source is some sort of royal staffer who describes Meghan as a very nice, smiley, super positive person. I don't think in the whole of history there was ever a greater divide between what someone expected when they became a member of the royal family and what they discovered it was really like. She was hugely disappointed. The source adds that Meghan quickly realized she was being treated in a slightly condescending way by the royal establishment because she was not a blood royal, something Kate had to put up with too. However, the staff member says Kate was much better at dealing with it because she does not have Meghan's messianic tendencies and used her charm to win them over. They continued, "The thing to remember is that there is no limit to Meghan's ambition, and like most fiercely ambitious people, she never thinks, 'Have I got this wrong? Am I overreacting?' But it remains true that she is a lovely person so long as she is never crossed. For a weak boy unsure of himself like Harry, she is perfect because her absolute certainty makes him feel safe." Frogsit, the term being used by some tabloids for Harry and Meghan's eviction from Frogmore Cottage, could be a sign that the couple will not attend the coronation. Russell Myers of The Mirror said, "Will Harry and Meghan be at the coronation? This is possibly a big sign that they won't be. Will they be welcomed from the family? There is a lot of talk on whether they will come. I was just told last week by people very close to Harry that he hadn't made a decision and he was still undecided. However, will that decision be taken out of his hands?" Dr. Tessa Dunlop is a royal historian. She told The Mirror, "There is more at stake here than just a historic UK residence for the Montecito couple. Situated within Windsor Great Park as part of the Crown Estate, Frogmore Cottage has security benefits that have otherwise been removed from the Sussexes when they visit Britain. That really matters to a couple who are currently suing the Home Office over rescinded police protection measures. Even Prince Andrew, the alleged future recipient of Frogmore Cottage, isn't happy. He wants to stay put in the gigantic royal lodge. But under the reign of King Charles, errant princes are discovering they don't always get what they want. What we do know is that Harry and Meghan were fond of that cottage. Offered to them by Her Majesty as a wedding gift, the prince assured the late Queen Frogmore Cottage would be a dream come true. True, it was Frogmore House, the far grander, larger affair that Harry initially thought his grandmother was suggesting. After all, the Queen Charlotte mansion had been the backdrop for their wedding photographs. But they were reassured by the Queen the cottage, although tumbled down, was hidden, historic and part of the Crown Estate. What could possibly go wrong? Where to start? There were controversial renovations. According to Harry, these were basic to make the place habitable: piping, heating, water. But costs racked up, and initially paid for by the sovereign grant, was soon the centre of a media storm. The couple converted the Grade 2 listed cottage into a spacious 5-bed home complete with 2 orangeries, a veg garden and a yoga studio. Palace Intrigue will be right back.
Hey, it's Jordan Ross Myers, the man behind Twitter's notorious Lee Radswell and Don Gunvalson. I'm inviting you to join me every week for the Pretty Corrupt podcast. Along with my co-host, reality casting director Stacey Noel Connor, and disgraced entertainment TV producer Nate Safer, we deconstruct pop culture's past, present, and future and probe the dark crevices of Hollywood, taking you inside the scandals, feuds, rises, and falls of society's rich and infamous. Alongside interviews with our celebrity friends and special guest hosts, everything is fair game on the Pretty Corrupt podcast. Every Tuesday on all streaming platforms and at storicmedia.com.
It looks like King Charles' coronation throne needs some work. The Mirror reports work has begun to prepare an extremely fragile 700-year-old oak chair for the coronation. The gold leaf gilded chair, which was formerly the centerpiece of the ceremony since the coronation of King Edward II in 1308, needs a delicate clean and stabilizing of layers of the gold finish, which have flaked off over the centuries. Shockingly, much of the chair is covered in graffiti from tourists and school pupils who visited the Abbey in the 18th and 19th centuries, with one entry reading, P. Abbott slept in this chair 5th July 1800. Six News describes the throne as decorated with colored glass, gilded and painted with patterns of birds, foliage, and animals by the king's master painter. It is made of oak. Despite being used in coronation ceremonies since 1308, however, the first confirmed use was to crown King Henry IV in 1399. A king was painted on the back of the chair, which is thought to be either Edward the Confessor or Edward I. The four gilt lions that form the base were made in 1727 to replace the originals, which were not added until the early 16th century. Parts of the wood from the chair were cut off as souvenirs, and during a bomb attack in 1914, a small corner was knocked off. The king isn't the only royal making waves. His Majesty's second cousin has ticked off some dog walkers. Lord Ivor Mountbatten has told local dog walkers he plans to charge them £60 to walk their dogs on his grounds. He cited spiraling costs needed for the upkeep of his 100-acre estate as the reason for the change in an open letter to residents. Lord Ivor wrote, "The rise in living and operational costs in the past 12 months means our maintenance, management and operational obligations have spiraled far higher than the return of coffee, cake and community events can cover. I want to continue to offer access to the Orangery and Parkland across 7 days a week. But if we're going to remain open, we need our guests and visitors to support us a bit more if they can." One local dog walker said, "It is one thing charging non-locals a day fee to visit, but quite another exploiting what is really a captive audience. I don't think people will pay it. It is a pleasant enough park, but you have to keep your dog on the lead because of all the deer roaming around and all the water birds on the lake." And there you have it. If you'd like to email us, our address is thepalaceintrigue@gmail.com. Please follow us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, even YouTube. Now you can find us there or any platform of your choice. I'm Mark Francis. My thanks to John McDermott. This is Palace Intrigue. Good times.
So you're at McDonald's and you get your bag and you open your bag, you want to grab a couple of fries or something, and there's $5,000 in it. Yeah, this happened to one guy. Hi, I'm Johnny Mac, host of 5 Good News Stories. He gave the money back, don't worry. If you want to start your day with a smile twice a week, I've got 5 good news stories for you. For example, there's an airline for dogs. Or what about the woman in her 80s who just released her debut album? How about the dude who found 150 corn on the cobs under his floorboards? Is corn on the cobs even the way you say that? Who cares? And yes, that was a pony at the supermarket. 5 good news stories, the number 5 good news stories, 5 good news stories, the number 5 good news stories, wherever you get your podcasts.